The hospital corridors echoed faintly with the hurried steps of nurses, the low hum of medical equipment, and the distant cries of newborns meeting the world for the first time. It was in one of these brightly lit rooms, under the harsh glow of surgical lamps, that Emily's life changed forever. After hours of exhaustion, pain, and breathless pushing, she felt the final release that marked the end of labor. The wail of her baby filled the room, thin at first and then strong, and her heart swelled with relief and overwhelming love. She had done it. She had brought life into the world. The nurses congratulated her. The doctor smiled reassuringly, and as they wrapped the tiny boy in a soft hospital blanket, Emily could hardly believe her eyes. She had dreamed of this moment through 9 long months of uncertainty, nausea, and anticipation, and now, finally, she was holding her son. She whispered his name, Noah, against his damp forehead, her tears falling into his wispy hair. Her husband, Daniel, pressed his forehead to hers, whispering words of pride and gratitude. The three of them felt complete in that fragile instant, their little family suddenly tangible. The room was filled with calm now, the storm of birth receding, and Emily thought only of cradling Noah and never letting go. To her, the world had already given her everything she could possibly ask for. Hours passed. The nurses checked in on her, gently reminding her to rest, but Emily found it impossible to sleep. She lay there in the dim hospital light, her son tucked into the bassinet beside her, listening to the rhythmic sound of his breathing. Her body ached, her muscles trembled, but her soul felt light. She thought about how she would tell her parents, how she would introduce Noah to the world, how this little life would grow and shape their future. But then something happened. Subtle at first. The monitors near her bed beeped with irregularity, drawing the attention of a young nurse who frowned, checked Emily's vitals, and asked her softly if she felt discomfort. Emily admitted to a strange heaviness in her abdomen, as if something hadn't quite ended with the birth. The nurse reassured her, but decided to call the doctor back just to be safe. The examination began casually enough, but within minutes, the doctor's expression hardened into something unreadable. His gloved hands moved quickly, his eyes flicking toward the ultrasound screen. Emily, though exhausted, noticed the sudden change in atmosphere. The nurses began to move with urgency, preparing equipment she didn't recognize. Daniel's face grew pale as he asked again and again what was happening, his voice cracking with worry. Then came the words that froze Emily's blood. "There's another heartbeat." At first, she thought she had misheard. She was too tired, too delirious from the storm of childbirth to process such a statement. But the doctor repeated it, his tone cautious, almost disbelieving. "Emily, you're still carrying a baby. You have twins." The world seemed to collapse around her. Twins? How could that be possible? For 9 months, every scan, every appointment, every test had spoken of a single child. She had prepared her mind, her body, her entire life for one baby. And now, after she thought it was over, after she had already welcomed her son, there was another life inside her fighting to emerge. Panic laced the room. Nurses hurried to adjust the equipment, the doctor gave rapid instructions, and Emily felt herself spiraling into both fear and disbelief. She clutched Daniel's hand so tightly his knuckles turned white. Her thoughts raced uncontrollably. What if something is wrong with the baby? What if the reason no one saw it was because it was too small, too weak? What if I lose this child now? The minutes blurred into chaos. The contractions began again, sharper than before, tearing through her body as if reminding her that her journey was not yet done. She had already emptied herself of strength, already walked through the fire, and now she was being asked to do it all over again. The medical team worked with practiced precision, but beneath their professionalism, Emily could sense the undercurrent of astonishment. This was rare. This was something they had not expected. And in the middle of it all was her her body, her baby, her impossible reality. When the second cry came, softer, weaker, but real, Emily felt her heart split open. The room seemed to exhale with her. They placed a tiny girl in her arms, her skin paler than Noah's, her cry quieter, but she was alive, alive. Emily wept uncontrollably, holding her daughter to her chest, whispering apologies and promises she hadn't even formed into words yet. The doctors explained that the baby had been hidden throughout the pregnancy, positioned in such a way that every scan had missed her, cloaked behind her brother like a secret shadow. A miracle and a mystery. The staff called it a medical anomaly. Emily called it destiny. Now, in the small hours of the morning, Emily found herself staring at the two bassinets beside her bed. Two children. Two lives she had never imagined would be hers. The weight of responsibility pressed down on her with staggering force, but it was accompanied by an equally overwhelming sense of wonder. She had been prepared for one story, and now life had written her a different one entirely. She reached out, her fingers brushing both tiny hands at once. Noah stirred, his face scrunching into a dreamlike frown, while his sister, yet unnamed, curled her fist around Emily's finger. In that moment, she understood something profound. Life would never unfold the way she expected, and perhaps that was the greatest gift.